This is the Coach Dan Day Show, presented by Dinos Sports Lounge in Greensburg and Latrobe. Here's Dan Flickinger and the head coach of the Seton Hill Griffins, Dan Day.
We are on Griffins Game Day here on the Westmoreland Sports Network, getting you set for Seton Hill and IUP from off the field. It is senior day here at off the field, and right now we are being joined by Coach Dan Day of the Seton Hill Griffins, the Dan and Dan Show, as always, brought to you by Dinos Sports Lounge in Greensburg and Latrobe. And Coach, a disappointing 37-10 loss last week at home against Edinboro, and man, you guys came out so strong. I believe it was the first time you scored on your opening possession of the season, and then things just kind of fell apart from there. What were your impressions of the loss?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, every time that you're going to experience a loss is an opportunity to learn. We've talked a lot as coaches and then obviously with our players all week. And I think on the offensive side of the ball, what you saw was, I don't want to say arrogance, but I just think a little overconfidence. We hadn't scored first possession all season long. It's something we had talked about. Make sure we come out and start fast. And with such a young group on offense, I think, it's great that we got it done. I think there's also a part of it that was almost the Achilles heel that, once that happened, we thought the day was going to be easy. And it's never going to be easy. No matter who you're playing, it's never going to be easy. So, once we had that mentality and thought that this was going to be, not as challenging of a day for us offensively because our first drive, the next time you go out and things don't go your way, right, it starts that panic, that, kind of what's going on type feeling. And we really, I think this Saturday lost our one-play mentality. When something went wrong, we let it snowball and affect us rather than, shaking it off and just attacking that next series. I thought we had been doing to a really, really high level these past few weeks. So ultimately, I think that's what really hurt us. I think our defense played, and statistically, you're going to look at it and think I'm crazy for saying it, but I thought the defense played a phenomenal game.
Yeah, they were out there a lot as well.
Yeah,
and didn't get a whole lot of, you talk about complimentary football a lot, Coach. The offense didn't really complement.
No doubt about it, and they gave us some, bailed us out of some early situations, and also gave us great field position, on some. So it was strictly down to us offensively, in my opinion, of having to produce, and we didn't do that flat out. We got to coach that side of the ball better. That starts with us as coaches, getting them in the right mindsets, making sure we're attacking teams the right way and doing everything we got to do. There's no doubt about it that we've got to, just learn from this and continue to grow on the offense side of the ball.
I know you mentioned learning from it. I know no loss is a good loss for sure, but are there some benefits, some learning possibilities that you could take out of this game for a program that is still certainly growing?
Yeah, I mean, I think culturally it's huge, and I mean that in all reality. I think culturally that was, as much as it hurts to go through at that moment, and especially like I said, I think the defensive side of the ball is a little bit older, and that's why I think they handled the situation better than we did. But within our youth, I mean, look, what we want to turn this program into, we need to be ready to go out and win games that, you're quote unquote supposed to, and walking into games that, we've been obviously the underdog for a long, long time. And I just don't think we handled it well of going out and just taking care of business, right? There's no reason to ever have in the back of your mind, you don't dominate any football game. Nobody does by expecting to do that. You dominate a football game by going out and just every single play you do your job at a high level. And then before you know it, you go in halftime, you're up 21, and you walk out at the end of the day and, you beat somebody by 31. That's how you dominate a football game, not going in with the mentality that we're going to be perfect and not make a mistake. That mindset sets you up for failure. So I think the learning opportunity from this game was, again, hurts at the moment, but it's a great opportunity to get better as a program.
Well, let's talk about a key part of the game, I thought, Coach. Seton Hill trails 10-7 late in the second quarter. Edinboro has a bad snap and recovers at its own goal line. Their punter ends up getting off a booming 64-yard punt over Keenan Humphrey's head. 3 plays later, Chris Jones has to come in the game because Ryan Barabee went out with an injury. He throws an interception, and Burrow actually scores a touchdown, ends up leading, Coach, at halftime 17-7. could have easily been 14-10 Seton Hill at halftime.
Sure.
Instead, it was 17-7 Edinboro. Seemed like a big swing there.
Yeah, absolutely. And first and foremost, credit their special teams unit. Kanan was not out of position. He was exactly where, film study had showed us to be with his range. I mean, I thought it was a phenomenal play, on their end, special teams-wise, to really change the field position, which altered, kind of the plan of attack that we had to be a little more aggressive, in that case. And again, for Chris, I mean, bad decision, and bad, opportunity there. But, I really think we got to do a better job up front of, giving them a little bit more time to be able to make good decisions, and I think that was something we struggled with, in my opinion, all day long, was our protection and helping those guys feel a little bit more comfortable. So that was a major swing in the game. And even offensively, I thought that we had already started that panic a little bit, even prior to that. I think going into the halftime that way, after defenses play such a great half, I think on their end, that was probably the demoralizing drive, for them. You almost say, what else you want us to do, on their end. So we got to do a better job, like I said, of offensively taking advantage of the opportunities we were given, and we didn't do that well Saturday.
As a fan coach, looking back at that bad snap, you almost felt like, I guess that's just the way things were going that day. How in the world was that not a touchdown for you, a safety, and also their quarterback knocked, I believe it was Keyshawn, out of the way to allow someone else to recover that right on the goal line. So it was just like, that's just how things were going, I guess, on Saturday.
Yep, and I think, you look at Gannon and Mercyhurst, in my opinion, and again, I think the defense played a phenomenal game, but I don't think our team effort matched what we put out in Gannon and Mercyhurst. I just don't think we were the same. I don't think we were as hungry, as we were in those two games. And I'm not saying anything I haven't told, our players. This is just honestly how I felt our team, didn't approach it with the same mentality we had the 2 weeks prior, which helped lead us to victories, and like I said, that's what we got to learn and take from that.
Well, despite the hiccups, Coach, your team was still in the game. You were down just 20-10 going into the fourth quarter.
Yep.
Your defense came up with some big red zone stops to help make that happen. So even though a lot of things were going against you, you guys are still in the game going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, absolutely. And really the story as the whole day played out was turnovers. I mean, every opportunity I felt like we started to produce a little bit, a turnover. Not only does it, obviously you lose possession, right? But every turnover just helps add that, put a couple more bricks on that, pressure you're feeling on your shoulders. And that ultimately was the story for us of not only not capitalizing, but shooting ourselves in the foot with turnovers and, field position. I mean, you look at a game like that and you go back and watch film on Sunday and you look at, I think we punted twice. Like, we either should have had a ton of points on the board, or it wasn't a good day for us if we only punted twice, and that's what the story to me was, our turnovers and our inability to execute.
Fourth quarter, Edinboro gets another field goal, but you still only trail by 2 scores at that point, 23-10. The ensuing drive, Jaquan McGriff throws an interception on a trick play to seal your fate, Coach. And at that point, with the offense struggling like it was, just trying to get a play?
No doubt about it. I mean, just kind of what we had produced or lack thereof. You look at the first drive being 79 yards or 75 yards, and we had 279 on the day. So if you take out the first drive, which I think we executed incredibly well, throughout the entire football game we had 204 yards of offense. That's not what you want. That's not the winning edge in what we have to do, So at that moment we were trying to get, things going however we could. And, a couple weeks earlier we call that same type of a play and goes for a touchdown and you're a genius. Sometimes you call them and they don't work out and you're an idiot, right? You got to live with both. That's just part of the reality
There's no
of being
in between
coach.
as a head coach.
No doubt. No doubt.
Now, you mentioned the 5 turnovers. Certainly hard to win a game, obviously, when you turn the ball over that much. But penalties seemed to be an issue last week, particularly in the first half. When you watch the penalties back on film, what was your kind of take on those?
Yeah, I think we had a couple that, a few that we've just got to alter, how we're doing things. Others, it seems to be our story, right now, unfortunately, and we just got to continue to coach it as best we can. I don't have a better answer for you than that on how we need to address it and move forward. There are some that's just lack of discipline and others that, I think it's just the way that the game is unfolding right now.
I mentioned Ryan Barabee went down. Chris Jones had to come in the game and threw an interception on that third down, which had to be a pretty difficult situation for him to come in at that point. But what is Ryan's status for today? Will we see him out there?
We will. Yeah, he's been able to participate in practice, all week long. He's had a pretty good week, and feels comfortable. He looks good. I mean, so you'll see Ryan out there, start to finish.
Now, unfortunately, Noah Davis didn't play last week, and I understand that he got injured against Mercyhurst, continued to try to battle through it.
He did.
But he may be lost for the season.
Yeah, he's unfortunately going to be one that they held out hope that potentially at the very, very end, maybe the last week, if any, just to try to help him, being a senior, have that last moment. But it's an injury that could, cause quite a bit of long-term damage, so it's one of those that you kind of, almost even as a coach, would I love to have Noah, no doubt about it, right? But I also want to be able to see him in his future, and see him be successful. So you almost, as a coach, are a little bit obligated to have that conversation. I know you want to play, but, you're 21 years old and you got a long life ahead of you. So, sometimes you just got to play with the hand you're dealt. And I think right now his job is to help our team, as a leader in a supportive role within the defense and really our overall team.
Hunter Miller is our Griffin Player Spotlight here today. We'll be talking with him in just a little bit. And I know we've been talking about Hunter weekly, but he's won twice PSAC Specialist of the Week. He continues to do his job. I know he missed a long field goal last time, but he's hit the ones that he's supposed to hit throughout the season, and the punting has been pretty good too.
Absolutely. And he had a play, early in that game that Fardan ended up bailing us out of a bad situation with an interception, but a low snap. Hunter did a great job, in my opinion, of fielding the ball, and just the way the rush came, opened up on the left-hand side. It wasn't a design, fake by any means, but, he was trying to be a football player and make something happen. Just saw a lot of green grass and took it. I think that's what you get with Hunter is he's very cerebral, and that's something that I think he adds to the game, not just doing his job, but thinking about different situations. And he's quick to come up, and talk about, hey, coach, in this situation, I saw this, what should I do here? And so that you really appreciate that as a specialist, not just go out and kick the ball. He really wants to impact the game in the most positive way he possibly can every possession, and that's something you really respect out of a player.
Do you see him with a lot of confidence too? I mean, is he a confident kid?
I think it's grown, throughout the year. He's, in my experience in football, as a specialist, the most important thing we got to have to do as coaches is continue to help that grow daily. I think as a specialist, one at any position, you lose confidence, you're in trouble. But I think at that position specifically,
absolutely, yeah.
You lose confidence, you're in a world of hurt. So just, anytime there is a bad play, an offensive lineman's going to miss a block, or receiver's going to drop a ball. Receiver might have, 9 opportunities in one day to do that, where, when Hunter messes up, it's on display for the whole world to see, So that's the important part on our end as coaches, is to continue to just build him up, man, because when he's on, he can be really, really special.
Sounds like my golf game. I never have any confidence, and the ball always slices. I don't understand what's going on there. Coach, one final thing before we talk about IUP. How was the week of practice? How does the team reset? I know one of the things you do after games on Saturday, you talk as a team on Sunday, and then you try to reset and come back and practice. How has the team kind of responded?
Yeah, I think we got to Saturday, to me, attacking the game with a one-play mentality was just a catchphrase. I don't feel like we believed in it. I don't feel like it was really who we were. I think, they, in my opinion, I don't think we as a team or a program thought it was going to matter. When, as you see, you don't bring your A game. Again, Edinboro's a good team, and I said that week. They're not. They're better than what their record indicates. And and I just want to get back to that. Just get back to having that one-play mentality we've been carrying with us, especially those last 2 weeks in Gannon and Mercyhurst. And we got to bring that attitude back. That adversity's going to strike. Everybody practices just like we do. Everybody's putting in a lot of time, just like we are, right? So there's going to be bad plays. It's how you respond to that and not let that pressure, make you crumble. So just getting back Saturday to one play at a time and making sure we're having fun.
We'll talk about the IUP Crimson Hawks when we continue here on Griffin's Game Day. It is the Dan and Dan Show. Seton Hill's opponent today, IUP. We'll talk about them next on the Westmoreland Sports Network.
If you're looking for the best place to go on Steelers Sunday or any day of the week, it doesn't get any better than the atmosphere at Dinos Sports Lounge in Greensburg. Come in and enjoy the black and gold and fill your stomach with over 20 appetizers, giant sandwiches, mouth-watering pizza, and the wings. Oh, you'll love the wings. Voted by USA Today as one of the top 10 sports bars in the nation. It's Dinos Sports Lounge, just off Route 30 in the Town Square Plaza.
Greetings, Seton Hill fans, from your friends at the Ramada Greensburg Hotel and Conference Center. The Ramada is Westmoreland County's only full-service hotel, hosting hundreds of weddings, parties, live entertainment, and business events in the area's largest ballroom, which is designed to accommodate up to 1,000 guests. All of our rooms include pillow-top bedding, a work desk, ergonomic chair, and a flat-screen TV. To book your next stay or schedule your big event, visit us online at ramadagreensburg.com.
I've been here at Seton Hill University since the program started.
He plays a big part of this team and this coaching staff.
I woke up in the ER and it just hit me there. I just had a heart attack. Dr. Suzuki was absolutely amazing. This is the guy that I want in my corner right now.
The more amazing thing was how well his group of wrestlers teamed up to help him out. And it's very similar to the teamwork that we have in cardiac surgery. I'm glad to just be part of the story.
This is wide receiver Terrell Gaither, and the Griffins play here, the Westmoreland Sports Network.
Welcome back. The Dan and Dan Show continues. The Coach Day Show brought to you by Dinos Sports Lounge in Greensburg and Latrobe. Our Griffin Player Spotlight with Hunter the Punter, Hunter Miller, coming up in just a few minutes. But we turn our attention to the number 19th ranked IUP Crimson Hawks, coming into today with a 7-1 record. Their only loss to Slippery Rock a couple of weeks ago. They are coming off of a 35-0 shutout win of Gannon. And first, Coach, just your impressions of the Crimson Hawks.
Yeah, I mean, top to bottom, really, really good, program. I think this is the team above all that, good offense, really, really, really good defense, and I think they do a heck of a job on special teams. Probably the best, most well-coached team we've seen on special teams. So I think, one of the most complete teams that we've played all season long, and you're gonna see, some really talented players that play with great effort and physicality.
On the offensive side, IUP having one of the best seasons in program history actually right now, averaging 45.5 points per game. Their quarterback, Quentin Maxwell, in the top 20 in 9 Division II stat categories, so it shows how good their offense is rolling this year. What have you seen from them on film that makes their offense so successful? Yeah,
I mean, he's a good player, very, very good player. They're explosive, a different type of explosiveness than, what you would see out of Slippery Rock when we played them. They're a little bit heavier personnel in their big plays. They've got some really big receivers outside that can go, make some plays and stretch the field. They're not necessarily, I don't think they live and die on big plays. Man, they can make you frustrated in the fact that, they can line up in 22 personnel and, get 6 and then open it up in 11 and get 6 more, and a run for 10. They just can really chunk plays in a lot of different ways and motions and formations and what they do. So I just think they're very, very sound and well coached on the offense side of the ball.
You mentioned their deep threats, or at least their outside threats. Dwane Brown is Maxwell's top target. He is a WPIL guy. 3rd in Division II with 13 touchdown catches on the year. What do you see from him that makes him a special player? One
of the most complete receivers we've seen. I mean, route running ability, I think, is exceptional. Good hands. He does a great job in the run game, with physicality and blocking. And I don't necessarily see a overall weakness, to what he does. He's definitely somebody that we have circled. We've got to know where he is and do everything we can to stop him.
Defensively, IUP allows just 152 yards per game through the air. although their head coach, Paul Tortorella, said that they need to do a better job against the run. What do you see from them on the defensive side?
Yeah, a really, really complete defense. They have 6 senior starters, so they're old, they're pretty big, they're pretty physical. I think they do a great job of, we've played some teams that do a lot of stuff on defense. IUP is the complete opposite. They line up play, exactly where they're going to be, and they're just fundamentally sound, technically disciplined, and, again, especially on the defense side, I think very, very well coached. So our attack has to be balanced. We cannot be one-dimensional in any way. This week we've got to have a balanced attack and be able to do everything we can formationally, motions, shifts, just different things to get them a little bit off balance and make them think a little bit more for us to be able to take advantage of any opportunity we get offensively.
You played 3 nationally ranked teams this year. Well, you've game planned for 3. You haven't played IUP yet. You'll do that today. Westchester, Slippery Rock, and now IUP. And I know you mentioned the similarities or differences between IUP and Slippery Rock, but do you see any similarities between those 3 teams and what makes them so successful this season?
Yeah, I mean, I think first and foremost, when you see, rosters with 6 seniors, as I said, on defense, and I think their size on offense is something that's hard to handle again because they're older players. I think, when you talk to Coach Lutz about their program and being very senior laden team in Westchester, I think some of their, best players on defense were some of their seniors, so being able to develop guys in the program and have them, be an older program is always going to be very, very important. And that's part of what we are essentially, I don't want to say restarting, right? But, we brought in 54 new players to our roster this year. And we have some great old ones, some great seniors in Fardan and Ryan and Matt Williams. And so we have some really, really good pieces. But, when you see an IUP roster, it's 6 seniors, right?
And some redshirt seniors
and that's,
as well.
In that aspect, and then you go 3 juniors behind them, and so it's just a very old team, and that's, part of what our challenge is to make sure that we are rebuilding this program to have retention and be playing juniors and seniors on Saturday as well.
Yeah, very well said, Coach. I've noticed that in the past. Freshmen going up against redshirt seniors, you're not going to have much success doing that, and that's why you're trying to build it from the ground up. Finally, Coach, I do want to ask you about Senior Day, but first your keys to victory today, and then we'll talk about the seniors. Yeah,
offensively, we're going to, they have a good passing attack, and their quarterback's playing really, really well. But I truly think their passing attack is really set up off of their run game. So we've got to be able to, it's a heavy power run game. We've got to be able to limit what they can do on the ground to force, for us defensively, I think the important part would be to make it a one-dimensional football game, to know what's coming. They do a great job of being balanced. Offensively, their defense is, we're playing a really good unit, right? So whatever opportunities we do get, we have to take advantage. Our third downs, we've got to make sure we're increasing our third down percentage. And you do that by staying out of 3rd and 9s, 3rd and 11s. We've got to be in 3rd and manageable downs. Are going to be really important offensively. And then whatever opportunity we get, we're going to have a few just big plays, whether it be a broken tackle for extra effort, a great throw, perfect placement, great route. We're going to have some really big plays offensively to be able to put us in position to win this football game. And special teams wise, as I said, one of the best coach teams, in my opinion, special teams wise. So we've got to be disciplined. We have to do our job. And number 21, not only as a receiver, but now you put that ball in his hands as a returner. He's really good. He's electric. So we've got to do our jobs in every aspect and phase of the game this week.
Hard to believe it's Senior Day, and I'm sure, when you coached at St. Joseph, and I'm sure you think back to when you were a senior on Senior Day, when now you're a coach on Senior Day. I'm sure it brings back memories for you. But talk about these seniors, Coach. And I've only been with them for 1 year, but I'm sure it's been very important to you, and it's meant a lot to you and this program that they have bought into.
Absolutely.
What you guys are preaching.
I couldn't be more thankful, honestly. I mean, that's the word that comes to my mind. Just the way that, all of them would have had an opportunity to, go elsewhere, play elsewhere. They had teammates that chose to do that. And these guys, said, look, we came here for a reason, and we want to be the first part of that foundation. And, look, I know they're disappointed in where we're at this point in the season, as I am too. But I didn't have a win-loss chart in my office of where I wanted to be this year was laying the foundation. And if I had to mark a W or an L on these seniors of whether or not they've laid the foundation, they absolutely have. And that's something that, they need to be proud of and take, this game today is a huge one of what a momentous occasion to be able to win this one at home on senior day, cement that culture, cement what we've been working for and building. And I'm excited, man, to take the field with these guys and have that opportunity to do it and have a great moment with them and just thankful for the buy-in, the belief, and the foundation they have laid for this program.
Coach, thank you so much. Go out there, have some fun, good luck, and knock off number 19 IUP, huh?
Yes, sir. We'll do it.
All right, Coach, thank you so much. That is Coach Dan Day and the Dan and Dan Show, seen and heard during every Griffins game day here on the Westmoreland Sports Network. Coming up in just a moment, we will talk with our Griffin Player Spotlight, Hunter Miller. That's on the way here on the Westmoreland Sports Network, counting you down the kickoff between Seton Hill and IUP.